This is WT for TST, and this evening I'm honoured to be joined by Maxi Hughes. How are you doing, mate?
Very well, thanks. Still on cloud nine. We're still buzzing.
I bet you are. That picture at the back, obviously your daughter, yeah?
Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah.
So you should have like another one where the belt's going to go, yeah?
The belt is actually downstairs on mantelpiece.
Right. And she's on the wall there. I feel sorry for her. Right, mate. What we do normally, first time on TST, we go through kind of like childhood upbringing, what that was like for you, just so we can get to know the real you as well as the boxer.
Yeah.
So if you can take us back to your childhood, Doncaster. I used to go to the Dome as a kid, actually, ice skating.
Oh yeah.
What was Doncaster like growing up, mate?
Well, I'm from a village called Rosington. It's a mining village, or not anymore, but I think at one point it was the biggest village in Europe. So it's a big old village in and around Doncaster. Obviously, I don't think it's that rough, but I think probably because I'm from there, but it's known as being really rough. But I don't think it's rough, probably because I'm from there. But yeah, I enjoyed growing up there, living there. The pit's now closed. I did used to play on pit as a kid. It made for a good playground.
I bet it did. Dangerous one, yeah?
Good chasers. Chasers on there. They used to have about 3 security guards, and they all had Land Rover Defenders, and they were white Jeeps, so they were keen to catch you, like, and they had good motors to try and get you, like. But I personally never got caught.
Until now, they're looking for you now, mate.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good childhood. I didn't start boxing till I was 15, so I had all up to that sort of age, just playing out. Never caused no real major trouble. Little bits of been mischievous and stuff like that, but nothing what's really bad. Just typical lad stuff, I guess. Just out on bikes, like say maybe a bit of trespassing here and there, but nothing major. Don't think anything that not nobody else has done, like. So
And then footy, yeah? You playing footy as a lad?
I did play a bit. Yeah, I did play for Rosso Juniors. I think it were under 10s I played for, but I sort of lost interest. I want too bad. I could run. I was always quite fit, and I could run fast. Not great at dribbling ball. At school, I used to enjoy playing at school, but I think I leaned back when I used to leaning back when I used to shoot, because I used to like whacking it, having a go for goal, but every time I'd sky it all the time, straight off a crossbar. Never score. I think I maybe scored 2 goals from my school and that, but that's it. But yeah, but just I did play rugby league, played rugby union for school, and when I was 12, 12 or 13, I started rugby league for Doncaster Toll Bar. I did really enjoy that. I had 2 seasons at that. But then that was the pathway to leading me into amateur boxing.
It was fighting on the pitch.
I did at school. I think I was the only kid at school to get sent off for whacking someone. All it was, I didn't start this.
Yeah.
A kid was running at me with ball, and I did a really good tackle on him. Proper did a good tackle, and he didn't. I don't think he liked it, because I made him drop ball. I went in proper technique with shoulder and everything, proper took him down, and he didn't like it. So he got up and he proper 2-handed pushed me, and my instant reaction before I knew it, I'd whacked him. And referee was my teacher as well, because he used to do reffing, and he just came up to me and he just like, because my real name is Danny, he just blew up whistle. He went, "Danny, get off."
Detention.
And I thought I were in for a right bollocking as well afterwards, but he played rugby himself. He came walking over to me after the game, and I was like, "Oh God, here we go." And he went, because there was no one around. He went, "You can't hit somebody that obvious. If you're going to do it when nobody's watching. Wait till you're behind a tackle or in scrum or whatever." He says, "You did it right and out in open." He says, "It were a good shot." He says, "But it was right out open."
And then that led you into boxing.
Sorry.
So then you went into boxing after that, yeah?
Yeah, well, with the rugby league side that I played with, we completed 2 seasons. It was a pre-season training, and they took us to a boxing gym. So happens it's my old trainer Jimmy Harrington, who's running the Freedom of Boxing. It was that club that we went to, and we started training there, and the season were approaching. And I just fancied a go at boxing. I enjoyed the training that much, and I thought, I'm just going to have a go at this. So I asked my mum. My mum said she knew some. She worked at Royal Mail Sorting Office in Donny, and she said she worked with someone who used to be a boxer. So she asked him about where Jim were and if I can start and all that. So we got all details. So she just took me to, and it was the Doncaster Plant Works that we went at. It was run by Ken Blood. I think he was a MBE or OBE. So he'd been around boxing, Ken, I think, all his life. He was an ex-copper, boxed himself, and he just loved the amateur boxing. He dedicated his life to it. There were other trainers there, Paul Harrison. Ken passed away 6 years ago. And when were it as well? I think another trainer there, Dave Croft, who were only 44 when he died, but he died 8 years ago. Yeah, they had a lot of influence over my career, and still even up to the passing in pros, they had a lot of influence. So that's where my amateur career started. I had 5 years there, 53 fights. I won the Yorkshire ABAs. I think about five times, four or five times. I think furthest I went were semis in ABAs. But I always come up against some squad lads, and they'd always nick it like so. I wasn't too bitter, but I'd always fight anyone on any sort of notice. I was just in and around gym all the time. If they rung me and says, "Danny, do you want to fight tomorrow?" I say, "Yeah, all right, yeah."
You're still the same, aren't you?
Yeah, nothing changes. Yeah.
So after the amateurs, we go into 2010. You started your pro career, and you went 9 unbeaten, and then you stepped in with Scotty Cardle. What did that first defeat feel like when you had such a good run?
I was a bit gutted. The thing what still to this day hurts the most, I suppose it's all part of learning and developing, but I were absolutely petrified, not as Scotty in the fight, but being on Sky. It was my first like big bit of exposure, and all that were going through my head were, don't make a mistake, don't get hit, and don't get put down, and don't embarrass yourself. You're on telly here, and I were in a lot weaker mind space back then, and I sort of, after 4 rounds, I did start forgetting that and trying to crack on and have a go with the fight, and I think I did finish that fight pretty well. I finished it strong, but it was just too little, too late. Then the Scotty had already built up a lead. So yeah, that guts me about that. But I think, well, that were part of developing. Maybe it were part of the plan to get me where I am. And when I look at how I approach fights now, and where I think I am in my mind, my mental strength when it comes to boxing now, I'm just told like a different person. But yeah, it did gut me a bit, but I did quite a few positives come out of that. I boxed on Sky, got a decent payday, gained some new fans, and it all went down in my experience. So yeah, it was a bit gutting, but But after that, I wanted to crack straight back on it and like stay at that level. But I had Dave Caldwell like sort of said he was going to rebuild me, and I stepped back down to boxing a couple of journeymen and that, which I wasn't too pleased about that. Like I'd rather just stayed at that level fighting unbeaten kids or kids with similar records and that. So yeah.
It took you a while after that to get back to where you wanted to be, yeah?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So the next, mate, this sounds like I'm just talking about your defeats. I'm really not going to all night, right?
Yeah.
The next key moment, I probably, unless there's some stuff you want to fill in the middle of this, but I'm going to take you to the Sam Bowen fight, yeah?
Yeah.
I know that was a hard one.
Yeah.
So April 18, in the fight, your right eye got hurt, got stopped. Am I right in saying at that point you were thinking about retiring from boxing?
Yeah, I did go on a hiatus. I did throw towel in with it. I was planning on moving up to lightweight before that fight. Anyway, it were getting hard to make super featherweight, and when I was at that, when I made super featherweight, I didn't even look like the same person. My wife couldn't bear to look at me. My mum or my mates were like, "God, do look like you? You look a bit poorly there." Like, but
Like what, weight drained, yeah?
yeah, seriously, weight drain. But the board had just ordered me and Sam Bowen to fight, so the medals both mandatory to fight. Carl Greaves did a good job of securing the fight and getting sponsors in. Carl put the fight on, and he got us both a very good payday. He got us TV money fighting for British. So obviously the chance to fight again for British title, I wouldn't turn that down. And obviously it were really good money. My wife was pregnant at the time with my daughter, and she'd got. We wanted her to have as long off as possible on maternity, but obviously her work would only cover so many weeks, months of full pay. So that fight getting announced, I couldn't turn it down because I knew we could get what she wanted off work with money we were getting. And I thought I could beat. I did think I could beat Bowen. I had watched him, but obviously I'm not taking note away. I'm not making excuses saying it were only because I weight drained. I lost. That night were his night, not my night. Maybe it wasn't meant to be for me, but it's again, it's you don't lose, you learn. All went down from your experience.
And I think you were talking about something maybe that was more. I know you had to go do that fight, but you're probably talking about something that's maybe more important with actually that secured your wife having that time off with a little one, which you're going to get back. She'd never get that time back. So
no, exactly, yeah. And after that where I wore a bit. I just felt a bit down by it. I couldn't bring myself to watch it. The only thing I had to do with boxing at the time were I went to watch Josh Warrington because he had his. It was not long after that he got his shot at Selby for world title, and seeing Josh's run up to that, I wasn't going to miss that. So, other than that fight, I just couldn't bring myself to watch boxing. Didn't hardly go on social media because pretty much everyone I speak to and follow on there, it's all to do with boxing. So it was just boxing, and I was just a bit burnt out by it. So I thought I'd throw a towel in. I didn't quite say that's me 100% done. I will never box again, but I just felt I was heading that way. I thought I've had an all right run. I've done all right out of it, but just thought that's me. That's maybe me done. And I would as all this time off, I was still thinking, am I going to be satisfied if in 5-10 years time I think, oh well, why didn't are you happy with where you are now?
what ifs?
Yeah, and then when we're now, a couple of months went by, and I think I got offered a fight in November of that year to fight in Switzerland. I think it was at super featherweight, but again, it was decent money. So I thought, And I watched the kid, but I forgot his name now. Forgot the bloke's name, but he were from over there. He didn't look great, to be honest. And I thought he's not good enough to beat me. For it's decent money. Before that, you know, the WBU
Right.
title.
Yeah.
Not a massive title, but it was for that. It was good money. And I thought, yeah, I'll come back for that. But what had happened was I think I'd had a precautionary ECG test. I were as I were having this time off, I were doing, and with baby coming, I were doing as much overtime at work as I could.
Was that with your uncle?
Yeah, I worked for my uncle. Yeah, painting, decorating. I was subby to him at the time. Just on new build houses. It's always on price work. So, and weather were all right, so it wasn't getting dark while late. So I was staying late on site, like getting as much in as I can for baby coming. But then I'd come home, get on settee with a couple of Budweisers, and I used to like sort of nod off. But there were one night in particular, I dropped off, and my wife normally shouts me, she says, "Wake up, wake up!" But I didn't respond to her. I think I was just so tired. But I was asleep, and she shouted me about 7 times before I heard her. And I think I sat up too quick. I like laid up. I says, what's up? And I just went a bit lightheaded, and I says, whoa, so a bit lightheaded here, like. She went, oh, you look a bit funny here, like. Says, I don't like how you're looking. So she sort of forced me to go to doctors and explain what had happened. And they did like a brief medical on me. Says I don't know what it could be, but it says we'll give you an ECG test just as a precaution. Make sure it won't your heart. Oh, but you can't come in, love. I'm just doing an interview. Just talking, Bob.
Just picking this back up with Maxi Hughes. You were talking about your ECG.
Yeah, so I had my precautionary ECG. Obviously, it all came back fine. There were absolutely nothing wrong. So that then when I training for that fight, I was saying about November going to Switzerland, I had to redo my medical because my medical had run out. So I did my medical, but then one of the questions is on the boxing medical form, have you ever had an ECG? And I didn't think how bad it was, so I says yeah, I have. I had just one a couple of months ago, whatever. And then obviously that got sent into boxing board. Boxing board then came back to me and were like, "Why have you had an ECG test?" I says it was just a precaution, like no came of it. So I went straight down to my local doctors, got the results, sent them to boxing board, but they won't accept it. It says, right, you're not going to be. We want you to see a specialist. Oh, well, like, right, how much is this going to cost me? Like, so, I says, can't you accept my doctor's thing? You can't go and get a special note off a doctor. He says, no, we need you to see a specialist. Like, great, absolutely great. So that cancelled that fight. So I was back to then trying to get my license back. So I left it at that, and then I was supposed to have I decided I was fully coming back last year. Steffi, my manager, had got me a show. It's just a 4 or 6 rounder comeback fight in March. So I was like, right, I've got to sort my medical out, thinking I'd be able to see the specialist, go and see him, get it done with, pay him whatever, and get it done. But it wasn't that simple. Booked in to see this specialist in a private hospital in Leeds. For the consultation, it was like 300 quid. And I thought I'd be able to get it sorted, but he did his tests on me and told him I need like a letter from him for boxing board so he can say, yeah, Max is absolutely fine. There's no wrong with his heart, blah, blah, blah. Give him his license back. But it won't obviously don't really know about boxing, so he says, "Oh, I think to be on the safe side, I'll give you 3 tests, like a treadmill test just to test your heart and that put your heart under some strain. We'll give you a heart scan, like an ultrasound scan thing on your heart, and we'll give you a 24 hours heart rate monitor just so I can see what your heart's doing." I'm like, honestly, mate, I don't need all that. I'm fit. I'm fine. My heart's good. No heart problems in the family. But he says, "Nah, but just to be on the safe side." So he caused all this pain. He says, "I do partner with an NHS hospital in Leeds. So because obviously he says it'll probably be quite a lot for you to pay privately to get this done." So I says, "All right, we'll go through NHS."
Take a lot longer.
Then I had to wait ages and ages. Took me about 3 or 4 months to get it all. And after my first one, and I was nearly on phone with him every day, chasing him up. I rung his private hospital, spoke to his secretary. I says, "How much is it actually going to be so I can get this test done all in the same day?" And she came back with price. I nearly passed out. I said, "Right, I'll be happy to wait for NHS stuff." But yeah, so going all right houses, I fully committed to coming back, got the love back for boxing. I'd gone through all that hassle, so I thought I've got to at least have a couple of fights now. I'm going through all that just to get my license back. So I got that, and then last year my first fight back after Bowen was a 10-round English title eliminator against undefeated kid again, Kieran McLaren, which has stopped him in 4 rounds. And then that was me back. I got the
So
love
regaining
back.
the love.
Yeah, we're back on it.
So I'll take you now then to your highest profile victory. I'm sure everybody's talking to you about it. John O'Carroll, you were expected.
I got a message off him as well after my last fight. Of John.
Oh, did you? Oh, that's class.
Yeah, which was nice of him. Yeah.
Very good, mate. You were expected to lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
Big upset, but it propelled you forward. But what I want to know is you had quite a few close losses in your career.
Yeah.
I want to know what you were thinking. So, 12th round, Bell's gone against Carroll. What's going in through your mind?
I felt like I was super confident of winning the fight before the fight and all that. And me and Sean, we'd studied and we'd come up with the strategy that we were going to approach it with. We were prepared to adapt. We were taking it round by round. But yeah, it went to plan. I felt as soon as the final bell went, I thought I've done enough here. Felt confident. Sean more confident. He says, "You've got that." But then in back of my mind, obviously we've seen some dodgy decisions in boxing, and I thought, because they seemed to take it felt like they were taking forever to total scores up, and I thought they're not going to give me. I thought I know I've done enough, but I just don't think, the same old John O's win.
You start to doubt yourself. Yeah,
they're going to take this off me, and but that's why if you watch my face when referees got our hands, I'm sort of going, come on, please. And then they did give it me, and I felt like it was just maybe because it was just such a clear win. It was close enough, but it was a close fight, but clear enough to see that I won, and I got it unanimous. So yeah, I knew I'd done enough, and I'm just glad that did get that decision. Yeah, but it did mean a lot.
And then, so you're 30 now. Yeah, you've just gone and got yourself a lovely, but arguably the best looking belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now what? Where do you want to go now?
Well, now with that WBC International I've just won, that I think that's going to give me a top 15 world ranking. So I'll give it a few days. I'll speak to MTK, but spoke to Anton from MTK after the fight, you were there, and he says we'll look to push you, get you pushed up them rankings, up in world rankings. So that's the plan now, just to get as far up them world rankings and chase that world title fight.
Big fights to come, man.
Oh yeah, get them big money fights, get mortgage paid off. Yeah, buy me some new trainers and that. So
I thought you were going to say have more kids, mate. I was about to say 3 girls.
Yeah.
That's what yours is going to be like.
Oh, get ready. Well, it's already going a bit thin here on top. So, what it could pay for is a nice trip to Istanbul. I might come back with a full head of dreadlocks, maybe, or like looking like David Beckham when he played football.
Awesome, mate. Right, that's it. That's it, really. But I like to finish these with a few questions. So I've got some questions. Sometimes I say this all the time, but sometimes they're really random. This particular girl that's asked this question asks a lot of questions, and it's always chocolate related, right? So she must have something for chocolate anyway. But Emma's asked, what are your your top 3 favorite chocolate bars?
It does alter this, but I am a big chocolate man, especially out of training. This is just currently.
I can't believe
it. Could change. But a few years ago, a Kit Kat chunky peanut butter was the undisputed chocolate bar for me. But
the green belt holder.
Currently, it's the Snickers. Is my top go for. If I had a second choice, I would go for a Dairy Milk fruit and nut, and then thirdly, what do I normally go for? Thirdly, because it's normally always them. If I'd say a good one, what I often get is the Yorkie biscuit and raisin.
That is a good one, mate. I didn't think that question would spark so much thought process.
Oh, it's getting me. I feel like I need to go and get some now.
Right, Matt wants to know. You seem this has actually come up anyway, but you seem willing to travel anywhere to fight. Which has been your favourite place you've been?
Dubai. Well, obviously, it's the furthest I've been. That's the first time I've fought abroad. And what a place it is. I wrote that on phone to my wife every day, like saying, "Oh, I wish you were here," and I still want, because I were only there for 5 days. I was sort of limited. I couldn't go too far. Couldn't go out and experience all nice foods and all
COVID
that.
as well.
Yeah, so I saw little bits of it and that, but it was a beautiful place, and I'd love to see more of it. But yeah. Favorite place so far is fighting in Dubai.
That's what the money can take, mate. Take your family back there.
That's it, yeah.
Right, last question. Tim wants to know, it's probably an obvious question, but Lomachenko versus Lopez, who wins?
I'm going only slightly going towards Loma. I'm a big fan of Loma's, his skills and his ability. I think he's in for an hard fight. Obviously, he's getting a bit older now, is Loma, and he's not had many pro fights, but he's had 400 amateur fights, and he's been a top amateur. So he's not just had like your club fights. It's been international, world class amateur fights. So yeah, I'm just pipping towards Loma, but I think he'll have to come through some tough moments. So because he can bang a bit, Lopez, like, can't he? So, yeah, I fancy Loma for it just because of his ability.
All right, mate. Well, that's me. So, unless you've got anything to say to the viewers or your sponsors?
Yeah, Darren from DNEL Events. He's been a big supporter and sponsor of mine. He came out to Dubai. He cheekily arranged some work meetings out in Dubai. Just so happens to be that it was the same week that I was fighting. He couldn't get into the venue because we all had to be COVID tested, and it was still it wasn't 100% behind closed doors, but he was sat in bar at Caesar's Palace Hotel waiting for us after. But
Not a bad place.
Darren's done a lot for me, and I think he gave me the winner's dinner, my last meal before like the last proper meal I had before the fight. We went to the shopping mall near us, and he paid for me to eat in the Armani Cafe. We were drinking Armani water. So maybe that's what the win were from eating at the Armani Cafe. But yeah, big thanks to Darren at DNEL events. Thanks to all my friends and my family for all support, all my new followers on social media, all kind messages. It's been brilliant and nice to come back to. So yeah, just thanks to everybody for supporting me.
Maxi Hughes, thank you very much for joining us. Take care, pal. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. See you, mate.